fellow pen lovers and stationery enthusiasts. It's Christy here, Snarky Wordsworth over on Instagram and Reddit. And today I am going to be doing a full review of this lovely, lovely bespoke pen here. I absolutely adore this design. This is from Papa J Woodworks. It is called the Aretha Floral. It has a cap that's called the Ethereal Swirl. And if you met me at San Francisco Pen Show, or if you've honestly had many interactions with me on Instagram over the last couple of months, you already know I am in love with this thing. I've been using it since July the 11th, every single day. I love it as much today as I did then, and I don't think I'm going to stop anytime soon. I'm actually getting ready to refill the converter with a new color for September. But yeah, I think this pen is phenomenal. So why did I wait so long to do a review? I wanted to be able to really get to know it, get to know the nib, get to see how it works, how it feels in the hand, so that it's not just initial impressions. It's definitely some actual experience behind it. And honestly, this thing is fantastic. Papa J Woodworks is run by Luke and Kristina. Luke manufactures the pen, he designs them, he puts everything together, and Kristina grows all of these floral elements in her garden. She pours the blanks, puts together these color schemes, also does these really beautiful finials I've just recently started seeing on their Instagram. Super jelly of that. Want to order another just so I can have one. And as a team, they just strike this fantastic, fantastic balance that, you know, I think is very much unique to their company. I'll talk more about the design process in a little bit when I talk about how we went about going and doing this commission, but I am super duper happy with the way everything looks on this. So close up, you can see those floral elements, little flecks of gold, and then every angle is super interesting and super duper clear. Like that inner polishing is crazy, like crystal clear, right? And then on top of that, this ethereal cap has these little ghost pockets of gold, teeny tiny bits of semi-translucence, and it just feels heavenly. It's so smooth and so just beautiful. Now, uncapped, you can see the section is also made from that ethereal blank material, and it just sort of flows so well together. I just think that they look like they were made to go with the same pen. That those little pockets of gold just totally bring out the golds within the body. And it's just such an interesting design. That blank, I can't get over it. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit with the specs. Capped, this runs at around 142 millimeters. Uncapped, it's 134. Just so you're aware, you cannot post this pen, so if that's a sticking point for you, it's something to note. But I used to be one of those people who had to be able to post a pen every single time, and I have no problem with this one. It feels really balanced in the hand, does not feel too long. I think if it were to be posted, if it were capable of that, it would be way too big for my hand. The grip section is really, really comfortable, not too wide. And what I think is the best part is this little step down, and the threads have been smoothed way down. I mentioned to him when I was doing the commission process that I have really persnickety hands that really are very sensitive to things like that. And he said he'd work on it. He also recommended this particular model for the smallest step as far as his designs go. And I think he did not steer me wrong. I think this was exactly what I needed it to be. Once the converter is filled, it runs about 22 grams, which is not heavy at all, but it doesn't also feel like flyweight either. And do remember that because it is a bespoke pen, you might have some variation from model to model, from design to design, just because, again, these are all totally handmade. And again, such a great pen. Every single one of his designs does come with a nib that has been tuned by Kirk Spear at Pen Realm. I'm a huge fan of Kirk's work. He's custom ground a number of pens for me, and those have always written so beautifully for me. This one is exactly the same. I chose to go with a Boch nib, but you can also do Yovo. It's no problem to choose either of those, and both again will be tuned by Kirk. Now this is a fine, and I'd never had a Boch nib before, but I've got to say, if all fine Boch nibs are like this, I 100% would try again because they're fantastic writers. And all together with the commission process and everything, this one ran $255. So you can figure out how that might be for your budget. Of course, if you have different variations to the design, it might be more or less, but that's just something that you can discuss with Luke. But yeah, I had such a great time even designing it. That whole process was so smooth and so easy. I went to him. The first thing I had asked, of course, like I said, was about the step. He was super duper accommodating. He never made me feel silly or ridiculous for asking so many questions about that. And then I asked, about the different blanks. Would Kristina be able to follow a particular color scheme? I told him I really liked neutrals. My preferences would be for beige, golds, and yellows, and that is exactly what I got. Beautiful beiges, golds, yellows, some whites in there. There's no way I could have designed something better. I could, even if I had been there to put specific flowers in, this is the perfect version of this pen for me. All right, so now that we've got all of the specific details out of the way, let's go ahead and do a really quick little writing sample, just so you can kind of get a feel for how it flows across the page. I wish that there was an easier way to get across how comfortable this pen is in the hand and how well tuned this nib is, but just try one if you ever get the chance, because this is wonderful. Once again, here you've got that Kirk Spear tuned Boch nib in fine. So again, I really wish there was a way I could get across the screen just how great this pen is to write with. It's super smooth, really well tuned, and so much fun. The ink that I used is Diamine's Tobacco Sunrise. I think it is pretty much the perfect match for this pen. Like, look at that shading and look how it absolutely hits the notes in that body. I'm definitely going to be trying another one in just a few days, just because, why not swap out when you can? But this combo is totally a winner. Like I said, this whole process has been delightful. I'm really, really curious as to, some of the other designs that Luke and Kristina do. I know they also do the kakimori holders as well, which I'm sorely tempted to pick up, even though I'm not great with my kakimori nib, just because I think that would be absolutely gorgeous to have. And they've done some other different blank styles as well. And everything that I've seen on their Instagram really, really just totally vibes with my aesthetic. I love that you can talk to them about color schemes. You can say, hey, I really want a sort of Victorian cream and burgundy. Can you make that happen? And they will try and do their best to match those needs. That's super cool. Rather than trying to find a blank that fits, they just make it from scratch. And there's something that's so amazing to me about that. Okay, apologies for the weird shift in lighting. I kind of forgot that I wanted to film a little bit of a size comparison, but here you go. I just wanted to let people sort of see how Papa J Woodworks lines up compared to some of the other big name brands that happen to be in my collection. These are pens that I do use quite often. So if you watch some of my other videos, maybe that will help you to sort of place where the Aretha would be in your own collection. Now, the Banu Euphoria is one of the largest pens in my collection of pens. I definitely would say this is not the norm for me, but I'm starting to gravitate towards this middle ground and a little bit away from the smallest pens in my collection. That said, I do use these all the time again. The Esterbrook Esty, it's about the same size as the Aretha. It's a tiny bit larger, but it's really negligible, that difference. The Pilot Vanishing Point. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and this is my beloved Kaweco Brass Sport. Now capped, this is the way the lineup runs, but it really is when you look at the pens and the configuration with which you write that size differences really begin to matter. So let me go ahead and pause this and shift to that configuration, and then we'll get a better idea of how the Papa J Woodworks Aretha lines up. So these are the same pens uncapped, and as you can see, they're all pretty close to the same size once we position them in the configuration with which I write with them. The Esterbrook Esty and the Papa J Woodworks Aretha have pretty much the exact same sized section. This is really my go-to section grip. I love them. They're so comfortable. They never cause hand fatigue. It really is kind of a pen section size that I look for. I believe it's around the 10 millimeter mark. Once you get out of that, they're all pretty much also quite comfortable. I don't get hand fatigue from any of these. The Euphoria, Aretha, and Vanishing Point, all about the same length. The Esterbrook Esty and the Kaweco Sport, surprisingly, also very similar in length. And it's the Pro Gear Slim that's actually the longest once it's been capped, which kind of surprises me every time because it doesn't really feel like a long pen at all. But when you do a side-by-side comparison, that's how it falls. I find all of these pens quite comfortable, so do with that information what you will, but this is how the Papa J Woodworks Aretha does, in fact, line up. So yeah, overall, 100% highly recommend Papa J Woodworks. I think this company is wonderful. Luke is great to work with. I love the whole customization process, being able to go back and forth with them about what kind of color scheme I want. It's super interesting not to have to source out an already made blank and instead just be like, I really like beige or I really like burgundy, and see what they can come up with. That's wicked cool, right? I mean, that's just amazing to me. Love that the pens come with an already tuned nib, and then it's just such a beautiful product. Like, I still can't get over it. 2 months in, and it's still, every time I look at it, I find something else that I enjoy about the design. And it's one of those things that really surprised me. You know, a lot of times I think people get a bit of pen fatigue when you buy a lot of pens, but this one, there's not been any of that. I haven't gotten bored with it. I'm not tired of the design. I'm certainly not tired of writing with it. It's just been absolutely delightful since day one, and I foresee myself enjoying it for many, many, many days in the future. So that was my review of the Aretha Floral with the ethereal swirl cap from Papa J Woodworks. One more time, cannot recommend them highly enough. Fantastic company and duo of people to work with. If this video was in any way helpful, entertaining, useful, whatever, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you happen to have any questions about this pen or the process, definitely feel free to pop those in the comments. Or if you have your own Papa J Woodworks pen and would like to chat about it, I am 100% game for that. You know me, I'm always up for a conversation about pens and ink. So with that, thank you so much for joining me. If you have made it to the end of this video, you are everything that is awesome, and I am so pleased. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye.